Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about a man who didn't just change the game, he changed the world around the game. He redefined his position, pulled an entire league back from the brink, and then, after a diagnosis that would have ended most careers, he built a second legacy, a legacy that might just be even bigger than his first. We're talking, of course, about Earvin Magic Johnson. So, how do we even start to unpack this? Let's begin with a really simple question about a player who was, well, anything but simple. I mean, think about it. A 6'9" point guard? That just wasn't a thing. A guy that tall was supposed to be under the basket, right? But, as you're about to see, Magic Johnson wasn't interested in what he was supposed to do. And yeah, those plans started taking shape the second he stepped onto a professional court. He brought a style and a physical presence the league had literally never seen before. You have to understand, before Magic showed up, the point guard position was kind of one-dimensional. You get your shorter guys, usually around 6'1", maybe 6'3", and their job was to be the floor general, run the set plays. It was structured, predictable. And then, bam! In walks this 6'9" phenomenon. He's built like a forward, but he's got the court vision, the handles, the flair of the flashiest guard you've ever seen. He didn't just bend the rules of the position, he completely rewrote the book. And that new style? Well, it got a nickname that fit perfectly: Showtime. And his impact wasn't just big, it was immediate and historic. In 1979, he wins the college championship in that legendary game against his soon-to-be rival, Larry Bird. Then, just 1 year later, as a rookie, he leads the Lakers to an NBA title. And get this, he famously steps in for an injured Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at center in the final game and becomes the only rookie in NBA history to win Finals MVP. Just incredible. So, Magic wasn't just building his own legendary career. No, he and his greatest rival were about to do something even bigger. They were about to save the entire league. At the center of it all was this idea of Showtime. And it wasn't just a game plan, it was a whole philosophy. It was a blur of no-look passes, laser-accurate alley-oops, and a fast break that was just unstoppable, all conducted by Magic. The Lakers weren't just winning games, they were putting on the greatest show in sports, night after night. And look, Showtime was incredible on its own, but you absolutely cannot talk about this era without talking about the rivalry, the one that basically defined the decade. Seriously, before these guys, the NBA was in trouble. Ratings were down, the reputation wasn't great, and then you get Magic's Lakers against Larry Bird's Celtics. Oh man, it was everything. East Coast versus West Coast, grit versus glamour. This wasn't just basketball, it was a national obsession. And just look at these numbers. For an entire decade, it was basically their league. They absolutely dominated. And this quote just captures the dynamic perfectly. As fierce as they were on the court, there was this incredibly deep mutual respect. Bird even said that the first thing he'd do every morning was check the box score to see what Magic did the night before. That says it all. So Magic is on top of the world. He's a 3-time MVP, 5-time champion, an absolute icon. And then, just like that, the story takes a turn that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. The date was November 7th, 1991. A press conference was suddenly called in Los Angeles, and pretty soon, the entire world was holding its breath. And there, with the world watching, Magic Johnson announced that he had contracted the HIV virus, and that he was retiring from basketball. Immediately. It was just one of those shocking, surreal moments where everything just stops. Okay, to really get the weight of this moment, we have to rewind to 1991. It's hard to imagine now, but back then there was just so much fear and misinformation about HIV and AIDS. It was horribly stigmatized, and most people wrongly thought it was a gay disease. So for a global icon like Magic, a heterosexual athlete, to make this announcement, it just shattered all those stereotypes. But that fear was very, very real. I mean, you even had other NBA players, his own colleagues, publicly saying they were afraid to share a court with him. Now, this could have been the end of his story, the end of his public life, but instead it became the start of his second act, an act that you could argue was even more important than his first. You see, even though he'd retired, Magic wasn't quite done with basketball. The fans voted him into the 1992 All-Star Game, and he went out and put on an absolute show, winning the MVP award. It was like something out of a movie. Later that year, he was a co-captain on the legendary Dream Team that won Olympic gold. He even made one last brief comeback in '96, just to prove he could still hang.
But his real second act was off the court. He completely changed the game there, too. First, he became the public face of HIV activism, using his foundation to educate millions and fight that stigma we talked about. Then, he built a business empire, Magic Johnson Enterprises, by smartly investing in urban communities that other companies were ignoring. And finally, he got into ownership, becoming a major player in sports franchises across the board.
And his Midas touch continued as an owner. I mean, his success has been absolutely staggering. Look at this. He's won 10 championships as a part owner in 4 different major sports leagues. Now add that to his 5 rings as a player and his college title. That's a mind-blowing 16 championships total. The man just knows how to win.
And all that success, well, it's led to an incredible business legacy. Think about that journey, from iconic athlete to groundbreaking activist to now a billionaire. He literally wrote the playbook for the modern athlete entrepreneur, and very, very few have ever come close to matching it.
So, after all that, when you take a step back and look at the whole picture, what is the enduring legacy of Earvin Magic Johnson? What you're left with is basically 2 Hall of Fame careers in one person. On one side, you've got the basketball legend, the innovator, the champion, maybe the greatest point guard to ever play the game. And on the other side, you've got the cultural trailblazer, the guy who changed the global conversation around a deadly disease and became a true titan of industry. So why does he matter so much? Well, his influence is just everywhere. He completely changed how basketball is played. He and Bird helped save the entire league. He used his personal crisis to educate and save countless lives. And he created a whole new blueprint for what athletes could achieve long after they stopped playing. In the end, Magic Johnson's story really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's the real measure of greatness? Is it the trophies you win on the court, the minds you change in society, or the empires you build off of it? When you look at his life, the answer seems pretty clear. It's all of the above.